And so thanks so much for taking the time, to share with us today. So, I want to just capture and share your story. So, um, you know, we'll just dive in, and I'm thrilled for you to be here today with us. You've had like amazing transformation. You know, your A1C going from, 6.2, right, to
Yes.
5.4, losing like close to 45 pounds in 3 months, and, putting pre-diabetes like in remission. So I just want to rewind a little bit and just, if you can give us a little bit of background as to like what your life was like before the program started.
Okay. So I am a single widowed mother, and just lost my husband 2.5 years ago. But at the time when I started it, I was overworked. I worked a lot, and when I would come home, I still continued working. I just, I would go to my son's games or activities with a laptop, on top of just stress of being a single parent and also helping take care of my dad, who was also recently sick. He was just coming out of the hospital, and just like overall stresses. I think I was just very, very overwhelmed, because there's a lot on my plate. And I had my annual physical, and it showed it. I was like the biggest I ever was. My A1C was in the pre-diabetes zone. I was unhealthy. I was just eating just to make sure that I had food in my body. And same with my kid, because we were just kind of on the go all the time. So, when I saw that how much the stress was affecting me, how much the lifestyle was affecting me, lack of sleep, on top of being perimenopausal, which is a very real thing, those symptoms were very hard on me. So, dealing with stress, um, single mom, perimenopause, all of that stuff, that encompassed a lot of bad um, things that affected my health. And so I just wanted to turn it around. Um, and and therefore, being a part of the program helped, you know, lead me to that. Both my parents are diabetic. I did not want to have a life of diabetes, and the way that the stress was happening, I just saw myself getting to that point where the stress and the lack of sleep was affecting me so much. It's just a domino effect with everything. So that's where I decided to turn it around.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and thanks for sharing your story. Like, can you tell us like about the moment when you realized that you needed to do something differently? Like, was there a specific situation you were in, or was it more a culmination of events? Like, or maybe it was like a moment, if you could just share with us on that.
I mean, I could already feel the stress that was happening, and how much it was affecting my body. But on top of that, I mean, last year there was I was dealing with a lot of unfamiliar symptoms that I could not pinpoint what it was. I didn't know if it was stress. I didn't know if it was lack of sleep. I didn't know if it was perimenopause, and like all of these things. And I also have an autoimmune as well. And that was where, with psoriasis is stress triggering. And so I would have major inflammation. And so that was also a major indicator to see how much my psoriasis was also being affected by stress and also like lifestyle habits. Um, and also I was just dealing with an extreme amount of stress at the time. So it wasn't until I had my annual where I saw it for myself. Because it's one thing to feel that you're heavily stressed, you're not sleeping, and you can't put a measurement behind it. But to actually see physical numbers like your A1C, your weight that is like the biggest you've ever been, these are things that gave me the confirmation like, yeah, this is not gonna end well. And my main concern is that I didn't want my son to be parentless. I need to be healthy for my son. So I need to be here. So I need to be healthy. So that was my number one goal. And once I was able to kind of make that, the motivation on top of the numbers kind of confirming that I need to turn it around, that's where it kind of clicked for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's very insightful into like your specific situation. And I was going to ask you, when you were about to start, like if you didn't join the program, were there hesitations that you had? And if so, like what hesitation did you have before you joined, if any?
I mean, the hesitation was more like I didn't know if I could be able to successfully complete or commit, because at the time my dad was having daily antibiotic infusions, having to take him and then take my son to school and then going also to work, and just like there's a lot of obligations also being in a sandwich generation, which is where you're taking care of your child or your children, and you're also taking care of your parents. And it's a lot of stress as being in this kind of middle ground to deal with the unpredictability of their schedule, my schedule, and everything else, and life in general. So my hesitation was, given that I can't just control me, I have these other factors that are affecting me as well. Like if I was able to take those and try to work in a way that works with this, my commitments to, the program or to being healthy, because it was very, very stressful.
Yeah, and I can, it's very understandable. I can hear that too. Um, but you were still able to do it, which is amazing, right? And the hesitation sounds like it was more so whether or not you felt like you could devote enough time, effort into making this work, right?
Hmm.
You still were able to do it, which is great. So I wanted to talk about, your results, like how life is different now than it was before. And I know we briefly talked about your numbers, right? Your A1C went from pre-diabetic range, which was almost to right on the border of actual like full-blown diabetes, right?
Hmm.
6.2 to 5.4, which is in the normal range. And then you lost close to 45 pounds in 3 months, which that's, a huge, huge accomplishment without any medications. You did this all naturally. So, you know, outside of that, your mood, your energy, your confidence, like how is it now compared to how it was before, like in your own words?
I think for me, because you always associate major weight loss with a lot of physical activity. And the fact that just by changing my eating habits, what I'm eating nutrition wise, being more aware of what I'm putting in my body, the fact that the weight had come off just from being more knowledgeable and mindful, like that was like, oh, like you can actually like lose weight and you don't have to like be in the gym every day. Like truly that means like it nutrition is a big part of weight loss, because that just showed that I was really not eating well at all. And by changing what you put in your body, right? And so, making sure that I have, fruits and veggies, and even and more protein, because I think we've been conditioned in society to eat these particular foods, like for example, for breakfast, if you think about breakfast, everything is a carb, like cereal, bread, bagels, things like that, pancakes. Those are all, refined sugars and carbs, and we've just been conditioned to be that way, to have that be our energy. But in reality, when I started doing, spinach smoothies and having more protein as a part of my initial meal of the day, I saw the difference and I felt the difference too, because the carbs were making me super hungry during the day. And which is why I probably tend to eat when I probably shouldn't have been eating, because it just signaled my body to want to eat. Whereas like the way that I was kind of changing, where it's like greens first, protein, then carbs, that changed everything. I wasn't as hungry. And it's just like being more knowledgeable about what you put in your body that really helped the weight loss like happen. And so, I mean, you add physical activity, it's even more, but I wasn't even doing that much it was mainly the way that I was eating and changed that habit.
Yeah, that's beautifully put. Like, can you maybe speak on like what resources in the program, like whether it was the video trainings, traffic light eating, you said green smoothies, right? Or even like, the group, right? The group calls or school community, anything that you found most helpful, with the things that helped with your results. Like, what would you really credit for helping you get there?
Well, I think obviously like you, because meeting with you allowed accountability and also like you just being very knowledgeable. Plus, not only that, like you're not just a trainer, a nutritionist, you're actually a doctor. So all of these other ailments that I was feeling that I knew like with my psoriasis, with my stress, with my sleep, medically you have the knowledge to also address those as well. So that's what also helped me and gave me the trust in your program, but also I think just you meeting with you because every person is different, right? I learned this obviously being in group. Some people have, physical ailments. They're coming from some people have really extreme diabetes. Mine wasn't even, I was pre-diabetic. So like it wasn't even that case, but everyone has a different issue that is their main priority that they want to tackle. So I think learning from them and learning from some of their best practices like really helped out a lot. Um, and I think once you see how different everyone's situation is, you can take a little bit of knowledge from everybody else to see where they found successes. Even like things that we they suggest to buy like at the grocery store or like recipes or things like that. I think that was also helpful too. But I think having that community, but truly I think our one-on-ones and you really catering to my specific situation because not everybody has an autoimmune. My priority is not diabetes. Like, of course, it's a part of it because it affects it, but there are other things like anti-inflammatory foods I need to start taking in to help my autoimmune, which also benefits from lowering stress and losing weight. So everything is a kind of a domino effect, and so that's why talking to you and having that knowledge and also having accountability, I think that really helped out. I think you're on mute.
I tried clicking unmute.
I mean,
Um,
it sounded great, whatever you're saying.
yeah, I was saying it was what you said was beautiful. So, thank you for your insight into that. But like, what advice would you give to other, people out there who are looking to achieve similar results, right? Lower their A1C, perhaps even put their insulin resistance in in remission, lose excess pounds,
Yeah.
get off meds if they're on meds, and just feeling more in control of their health. Like, what advice would you give them?
I mean, to be honest, like give this a chance. Because I remember when I talked to you and I was the biggest I ever was, and I'm like, do I need GLP-1s? Like, I'm not even diabetic. Like, do I need GLP-1s? Like, is there another way to do this? Like, I can't believe like how much I've gained and how stressed I am and all this other stuff. And you're the one that said, like, let's try this out because there's more to your situation than just losing weight. So I think that's the difference with this program is that we're not just tackling a weight loss issue or like in a sense a diabetes issue. It's an overall like lifestyle issue. So like I said, everyone has different like situations in life and surprisingly a lot of it is tied in with what you put in your gut and what you put in your mouth and whether it be things that will help with you know energy and stamina or losing weight and like it's so interesting how much things are so tied to your nutrition that help other things. So this is not just a single goal in a sense program. Yes, it's a diabetes reversal program, but it will help everything else that come into play. And in my case it was stress, and in my case it was my psoriasis and all of that. So with the benefit of what I had of losing weight, yes, I'm healthier now. I'm more knowledgeable now, but it also helped my psoriasis, which has been a big issue for me since it was getting more inflamed through my stress and through my lifestyle.
Yeah, that's again, beautifully put. Like, I think for someone looking on the outside, maybe even skeptical about the diabetes reset protocol, or like, somewhere in your position before you entered, like not fully sure if it would work for them, like what would you say to those people?
I mean, honestly, like I said, just give it a chance because I think the knowledge that I've taken from this program is lessons that I've learned that I will carry on. So, and also to carry on to my kid too. I mean, for example, he's doing wrestling, which I'm terrified about, but but a big part of wrestling is also nutrition, keeping weight, things like that. So these are lessons that I can give to him as to how can you be healthy, how can you also have good energy, like foods that give you good energy to have stamina for your meets and for your practices. How are you able to, keep weight or lose weight for your meets, things like that. And so these are um things that the knowledge I can take back with me. In a sense, I'm so glad that and because you never said really anything really negative about GLP-1s, but you said just let's try this. And I was more desperate, like everyone's on it. I'm seeing and I just worry that for people that do fad diets, that do GLP-1s and that do these things, they may gain the weight back. And so this has to be more of a commitment of lifestyle change. So that's what I take from it.
Yeah, for sure. And then I guess anything else before we wrap it up, like anything on your heart you want to share with someone who feels like, you did 3 months ago.
I mean, I'll say this. I did this program not knowing that I was also going to be doing, I like didn't really take into account all the trips that I'd be doing. I did, a road trip and three other trips on top of it. I had people come into town that I was hosting. So obviously I had challenges, but it never like steered to my commitments. So like I think where it works for me is that I didn't feel a sense of guilt of if I didn't do this thing, then I failed. I think we worked around the obstacles that I had to go through, right? So I mean, of course you want to eat during a vacation or going or hosting people, but I'm not compromising the experience. So like I'm more knowledgeable in the way that I eat food and order food, and it doesn't take away from the experience. So I think when I've been on diets in the past, I felt it was such a burden. And that was like the big thing. It's like, oh my God, I can't eat this, I can't have this, I blah blah. Now I can confidently be in a situation and just say, hey, okay, well, I'm probably going to have the salad. I'll probably add protein on this as opposed to like having a big pasta bowl that I normally would, right? That doesn't take away from the experience. So I'm able to incorporate the lessons learned and still be in these situations, these social situations that would make me compromise and, have me be more knowledgeable on how I attack it from a nutritional standpoint. So that's definitely like something that I would take away.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. And I just want to say, you're an inspiration to me and everyone in the group. And, anyone out there listening to this, your story is going to help a lot of people. So thank you for
Well,
sharing.
thank you. I mean, I will say too, like, what was my original goal during the health journey statement? I was thinking like my goal was to do just 25 pounds, right?
Yeah, 25 pounds and lower your A1C. And you said be
And lower
more
my
active.
A1C. And then I ended up losing more and more and more. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to be 45 in a few weeks. Why don't I just make it 45 then as my goal as opposed to 25? And, I think that's what I think was surprising is that I didn't realize how much success I could find and I didn't have to compromise anything in regards to how I would normally for a regular diet. So,
I love
um,
that.
yeah. So, and thank you so much for everything you've done.
Oh, of course. You're more than welcome. It's from the place of love, so I appreciate that.
Well, thank you.